This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Eric Seneschal joining us here, our certified Pulsor practitioner, and he's here from Rejuvenate Hope with Pulsors. Excited to have him back to talk more about this work he's doing, which is dedicated to really restoring the health, well-being of the whole body in a sense. So first and foremost, welcome back, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jill. Thank you so much.
Well, pleasure to have you here. For those that may not know, we are excited to join you again. This is podcast number 4. Is that true?
4, yeah. Going
Wow.
fast,
Give us,
going
oh
fast.
my goodness. All right. For those who may be new to your work, why don't you just give us a little overview as to the business and what you do with Pulsar so we can get up to date?
Of course, yes, that's true. So, I work in the energy balancing, like you just said a little bit earlier, and I use this new technology, which is called pulsars, which is based in quantum physics, with specific frequency. I help people to rebalance their energy mentally, emotionally, physically, and also spiritually. And these pulsars were developed by Dr. T.F. Yao. And after he was creating different technology, and some of them that actually was for NASA,
Mm-hmm.
he turned his focus to on working on the effect of electromagnetic field that is done to the human body. And he developed the pulsars to be able to reverse those effects that is done to the human body. Therefore, that actually also help the human body to regenerate itself. And I've been working with the Pulsar personally for over 25 years, but I've been in business since 2018, and I've been helping clients throughout my business and helping people from all around everywhere in the US, also in Canada, obviously, because that's where I'm from, and also as far as Singapore, actually, too. So helping a lot of people.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And in our previous podcast, I know you talked a little bit about level 1, level 2 pulsars and their benefits. So do you want to move on down to get a little more familiar with number 3, maybe? Is it more powerful when we're talking about number 3?
Definitely much, much stronger pulsars for sure. So yes, let's go. Let's dive into this. But I just want to let your listeners know a little treat before we start is that I'm going to be giving a little story at the end of this podcast about an amazing pulsar session that I did for a long distance pulsar session to a doctor in Seattle. So stay tuned for the at the end. So let's dive in as you just asked for the level 3 pulsar. So, like I said before in the previous podcast, when we start to work with the pulsar, we always have to start with the level 1 first to balance the polarity and to remove surface level blockages.
Okay.
Then we move to the level 2 to clear out deeper energy layers. And once the blockage are removed, we can safely and effectively use the level 3 pulsar to go
Okay.
even deeper into the person's energy field.
Ooh.
At this level, we're working with deep roots memory imprint, often subconscious pattern that has been stuck into our energy field for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned in the last podcast the level 2 pulsar. I don't know if you remember the Ultima Theta pulsar, which helps to clear the memory stored into the cellular mind. And today I want to talk about the Super Ultima Theta pulsar, which takes that work to a much deeper level. So this pulsar are excellent for clearing what we call coarse block energy. Those
Okay.
heavier memory imprint that can influence a person's thought,
Mm-hmm.
behavior, or even physical health. They don't erase your memories, but they help to stop your system from continuing your thought pattern and
Okay.
getting emotionally triggered or looping around the same past trauma. So
Hmm.
you may still remember the event, but without you continuously thinking about it. So that makes space for real peace and energy release. So the Super Ultima Theta Pulsar also especially effective at supporting the regenerative function of the organs.
Okay.
When the body's energetically balanced, the organ can begin to function more efficiently, which support the natural healing at the root level. There's also another one that I
Mm-hmm.
called the Super Infra Ultima Pulsar that has the same criteria but also has the focus on the muscle and the system physical tension.
Okay.
So they help to release long-held tension stored into the muscles and the cellular structure of the body. So this kind of tension can block energy flow and lead to physical discomfort from imbalance, I should say. So with both level 3 pulsars work deep, they each have their own focus. So the super ultima theta, more deep memories input or
Mm-hmm.
open level, while the super infra ultima theta
Okay.
targets the muscle system and the structure energy flow. When used in the right sequence, they are powerful for help calming the mind down from alpha to theta and to
Mm-hmm.
return the body's organ and muscles energy to the natural balance state. So one of my client, which is a nurse, and she's what you can call a high energy type of person, always joking around, full of laughter, and love lifting moods of everybody around her. So during one of her sessions,
Oh,
she just couldn't relax. She kept cracking jokes, making me laugh too.
was
We were
she?
having a good time, but after
Okay.
10 to 15 minutes, I gently reminded her that this was her time to rest and recharge.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at me, she says, okay, okay. But only a few minutes after, there she goes, starting making me laugh again. So at that point, I pause and I reach into my bag and took out three of those Super Ultima Theta Pulsar, and I strategically put it around her head. Almost immediately, her eyes start to roll back, and she asked me, "What did you just do to me?" So I smile at her and I tell her, "I'm just helping you to calm your mind down." Within 5 minutes, she was out cold, fast
Oh my
asleep
gosh.
for the rest of the session. Afterward, she couldn't believe how quickly it worked. She told me it
Mm-hmm.
felt like her whole body was sinking into the mattress, and she had never felt so deeply relaxed.
Wow.
That's the power of the pulsars. When your energy is ready and the tools are used properly, they help bring you into a deep state of rest where real healing can happen.
Thank you for that. Well, it's amazing. I feel like I'm kind of high energy like your friend there. And I'm wondering, yeah, seriously, I'm wondering maybe this is what I need. Okay, okay. Because yeah, I got this high energy too. It's hard for me to kind of relax. So, but I know there's more to level three than just the two types as you mentioned. Do you want to discuss a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So, do you remember when we talk about one of my favorite pulsar, which was the galactical one, the one that is
Mm-hmm.
multifunctional? Well, there are two other of the same family that I use for my sessions. So we have the Delta Thunderbolt Galactical and the Primordial Pulsar.
Okay.
So the Delta Thunderbolt Galactical is a hybrid of three different types. So we got the Ultimate Thunderbolt, the Ultimate Delta, and the Galactical all combined into one. It's like getting the best of all of the three pulsars all together. So it helped to reset and balance your nervous system, address the constant movement and distortion of the mind, and support the regenerative of energy patterns. I often use it in for nerve damage or stimulate blood flow at specific area on the body of somebody. I remember working with a specific client there with this typical pulsar, the Delta Thunderbolt, on the back of her body. So I have a bunch of them on the back. While I was working, her legs kept jerking up all involuntarily. The amount of built-up energy that was being released was so intense, it triggered her muscle and caused her legs to jump, like a twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't painful, just a bit annoying, she was telling me. So after a few sessions, the twitch stops and her body started to be balanced out. So I asked her if she was exposed to a lot of EMF,
Yeah.
electromagnetic field, and she said yes. She was a teacher at a school, and within the school there was a lot of Wi-Fi. Plus, they have a bunch of antennas on the roof. So they have the 5G, they have cell phone antennas, they have the radio signals. So I told her that her body was showing some signs of EMF intolerance. She confirmed it and said that even holding her cell phone made her hand become numb.
Mm-hmm.
And if she spoke on the phone for about 15 minutes or more, her ear was actually getting really hot. So I explained to her that her system needed to protect herself from EMF, and that's what Pulsar can do for her and to help her with this sensitivity that she has.
Wow.
Then another one that's from the same family, which is the primordial that I just said earlier. So that specific one is also from the same family, the Galacticals.
Okay.
So it is an excellent pulsar to help you to sleep.
Okay.
And
Could use
also,
that.
a lot of people would need that. And also a very, very good one for meditating. So this one will bring your meditation to a whole new level. It connects you more deeply into the pure state of energy, what some tradition calls prana or your chi. It brings your energy back to your original state as who you are as a person. So before all the social conditioning we were groomed to be, it helps people to reconnect with who they truly are at the soul level. I use this pulsar a lot with different clients, especially when they have people that their mind is racing. And one of my clients stood out of that. After our session, she looked at me straight in the eye and said, "I'm not thinking." And then she looked around the room and repeated, "There's nothing going on in my head. It's just
Wow.
quiet." Exactly.
Ah,
She could focus so clearly on one thought at a time. And I even noticed that when I was looking through her eyes, the
ah.
green was so clear and vibrant. That's the kind of clarity that a primordial pulsar can bring to the person.
Wow,
They're
that's
amazing.
fascinating. Clearly it is. And I love that you are just, wow, I just love this, how this works. Because, I never heard about pulsars till I met you a few weeks ago and we started talking about it. So
Mhm.
this is fantastic. So in level three, let's also talk, is there like one that works a little more directly with like emotions, like some of the level two pulsars do?
Yes, actually, there is. So we have the intermediate that they call. So this specific pulsar, when combined with carefully selected pulsars, is really amazing for people who had difficulty managing their emotional at any aspect of life. So it's particularly effective to help release emotional energy out of the body, out of the chakra, and out of the aura. Just talking about it sounds so peaceful, I feel. Intermediate pulsar are full spectrum, which means they can harmonize and work alongside any other pulsars.
Mm-hmm.
They're also an excellent for EMF protection, whether you're wearing it on yourself or placing them on electronics like laptops, computers, etc. This is a pulsar I've used in a few sessions where clients later told me that they were depressed or anxiety attacks had significantly decreased in both intensity and frequency. It also the pulsar I regularly use at the end of this session to give them what we call the aura bath that helps to realign the client's energy field after we've cleared out all the blockages, bringing their distortion energy flow back into the harmony.
Yeah.
Spoke about that in one of the podcasts. That sometimes they feel dizzy and all that after the session. That's how I bring it back.
Ooh.
So with this pulsar, I also use a specific pulsar protocol where I incorporated carefully chosen words. That's very important there to help release a deep root emotional imprint from the chakras. So words that give us emotional that may have been absorbed from a young age through self-talk or things we were told that made us feel different ways. So the word like powerless, invincible, unlovable, insecure, shame, unworthy, incapable, abandonment, just to name a few. So
Mm-hmm.
once these are clear, I rework the session by introducing the opposite words. So then I
Okay.
put the word powerful, visible, lovable, secure, honorable, worthy, capable, wanted. This process helps to remove the emotional imprint and begin reversing limited pattern so the person can start thinking differently, breaking the old cycle and open their doors to new results in their life.
Wow.
I'm sure some of your listeners has one or multiple of those words that resonates with them. I remember using this pulsar as a part of a vest layout on a client. During a session, she described feeling as if a block of ice was in her.
Oh,
From the chest to the hips
ah,
was being pulled out of the body. She
okay.
said it felt like literally a beam of energy moving from the back of the body, from the front of the body,
Oh my God.
clearing something deep within her. That was a strong negative energy blockage being released. After the session, she told me she had never felt so light and at peace with herself. When I called her for a follow-up 3 days later, she told me that she felt at peace inside had continued. She said her surrounding felt so much more calm, and even her husband had noticed a difference in her mood. Things were happening around her, but she wasn't reacting the way she used to. Now she was responding to the situation. Like I mentioned before, it was like a water off a duck's back. So that's really an amazing one that we have good result with customers.
Wow. Can you share some of the spiritual stories or experience that have happened during the Pulsar sessions?
Yes, yes, I got to keep my promise from the last
Ah,
podcast.
yes, please.
So of course, so I have many spiritual experience during Pulsar session, both, but on one story really stand out from them. So especially for people who are just starting to open up their spirituality, excuse me, or exploring their own intuition. So let me share with you this one.
Okay.
This client came to see me out of curiosity. She wanted to experience this kind of energy work for the first time. So during this session, she told me she had begun meditating and trying to connect with her spirit guide, but she still had felt unsure and unconfident about it all. While I was doing the pulsar energy work, I felt a strong presence in the room. I began to describe what I was sensing. A small woman, little overweight, with long hair and a very loving playfulness personality. She had this gentle teasing energy about her.
Mm-hmm.
The client's eyes went with emotion. She told me that
No.
that sounded exactly like my grandmother.
Wow.
I let her know that her grandmother was right there with her, supporting her through her current challenges and encouraging her to continue to develop her intuition because she would need it going forward. She then told me her grandmother was like a second mother to her, always there for her when she was a child growing up. When then I felt something unique. Her grandmother
Yeah.
wanted to play a game with her. I shared this with the client, and she immediately burst laughing. She tells me that is so her. Her grandmother used to play games with her all the time when she was a young girl, but always games that helped her to learn and to grow. So I told her that her grandmother wanted her to try to locate her present in the room to feel where she was standing. So the client closed her eyes, she focused, and said, I feel like she's on the right side of the room, but I'm not sure if she's near the head or the foot of the table. As she said that, her grandmother playfully switched spot from the right side of the room to the left side, right behind me. I then tell that to the customer, and then she start laughing because she says, "Yeah, that is so her to try to tease me and trick me like that."
Oh,
Then
wow.
she paused and asked, "Is there someone else in here?" I felt another present. I looked around energetically and said, "Yes." A tall man just entered the space. She asked if he was saying anything, and I said, "No, she's just looking at her, but with so much love and admiration." She smiled and said, "That's my grandfather. He was a man of a few words, but with his eyes always says everything." Her grandmother then shared with a message to keep playing that same sensing game during her meditation. She promised she'll always be there every time she meditate so she could practice to grow her intuition even more.
Wow.
This was one of the first major spiritual experience I had during a pulsar session with a client. It was so clear and so effortless and deeply moving. I'll never forget it.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I love hearing these stories and how it is honestly groundbreaking. And I just don't know why. I never heard of this. And I'm so glad that I'm learning about it and all of you people out there as well, because it really is, it's amazing. And hearing the stories, I think really solidifies how it's all happening. So do you have another story you want to share?
Yes, of course. Well, again, I'll keep my premise from the beginning with the doctor one. So that's a really cool story. So that one, like I said earlier, was a long distance pulsar session that I was having with a doctor in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the session, I suddenly started to smell a perfume. Now, I want to let your listeners know my clinic is a scent-free environment, so there is absolutely no scent product allowed in here. But while I was finishing her energy balancing, I could clearly smell a light, soft, and very high quality perfume. I'll admit it, it did smell really good. I didn't think too much of it, and I just kept going with the pulsar session to finish what I was doing. Then I just continued, like I said, until the end to finish the session. Once I was done and I had finished my notes, I called my client to go over the session with her. She just put me on speakerphone and I explained to her the protocol I did and what pulsar I use and share what I've noticed on my side during the session. And as I was describing what I experienced on my side, she saw the connection with what she felt on her end. Then, before we wrapped it all up, I asked her, I have a question. It might sound a bit strange, but I just have to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So I asked her, are you wearing any perfume today? She replies to me, no, I'm allergic to perfume. Right away, I heard her husband laughing in the background and say, how did he know that? And she burst laughing too. I was completely confused of what was going on. So I had to ask her, what's going on?
Yeah.
She explained that literally 1 minute before the session started, she had been clearing out one of her drawers, and in it was one of the old bottles of perfume that she kept for years. She never wore it because she's allergic, but it was an expensive one, and she couldn't bring herself to throw it away. That morning, she did open the bottle and smelled it one more time, and immediately
Wow.
she got a headache. Her husband told her, "You need to get rid of it, so of the bottle once and for all." She didn't want to let it go, but she knew she had to. So during our session, I was releasing that energy blockage tied to that perfume, and what I smelled on my end was the energetically imprint of that perfume leaving her field.
Oh
The
my
headache was
gosh.
completely gone by the end of the session. Both of them were completely shocked and amazed by this.
I am too.
It's one of the best real life experience I've personally experienced with how quantum physics and energy balancing truly works, just like we talked about in the first podcast.
Holy cow. So, what types of clients are typically drawn to your work? Would you mind sharing and some of the reason they seek you for these services?
Yes, of course. So that's a really good question, actually, Jill. So the type of clients we come to see me almost always say the same thing. I've tried everything and nothing works.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them have gone through the medical system and felt frustrated, either because it's only masked the symptom or because
Okay.
they experience side effects from the treatment or the medication. Don't get me wrong, the medical system does have its place, but not in everything when it comes to the human health. Others have explored different kind of therapy, but still haven't found the deep healing or results they're looking for.
No.
Most of the people I work with comes from a place of deep frustration or even desperation. But often that's also when they are ready. They're open, committed, and willing to do the inner work that needs to be to create real change. You know, people don't usually change until they hit their own version of a rock bottom.
So
And from
true.
there, the only way is up. In my practice, I combine pulsar energy balancing session with hair tissue mineral analysis from a company called Trace Element.
Oh,
So
never heard of them.
yeah, that's another big topic, but it's similar to blood type test, but it goes so much more detail with that. So this pairing is incredibly powerful. One support the physical body biochemically, and
Okay.
the other one work energetically to release the energy blockage. Now, because I'm not a licensed medical doctor, I can't legally make claims about specific health condition
Mm-hmm.
my client have, or should I say had.
Got it.
But I'm sure some of your listeners can read between the lines. What I can say for certain is that clients consistently experience real improvement in their own well-being.
Beautiful. And just quickly here, we have to come to an end. Just remind us about next week. I know we're going to get into, explain it to us specifically, spiritual work.
Yes, so next week we're diving in the creme of the creme, as we can say. So it will be in the spiritual side. We will talk more about the angel part, the power that we have as human beings that most people don't even know. And I want to let your listeners also know if they feel called to have a Pulsar session with me, they can always reach me at 506-856-5861 or by email at rejuvenatehope Pulsor, and the spell is Pulsor for Pulsar, at gmail.com. I'm always happy to answer any question or help guide someone in their own healing journey. And I want to end this with a quote. We're never truly alone. When we quiet the mind and open the heart, the angels are always there to guide our healing and await our true light.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate your time, your being here and enlightening us as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jill. You're amazing. You do amazing work, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you.
You're just too kind.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.